remember, shout out to my Patreon. Y'all are the real MVPs. I'm going to be trying to do some special things for y'all in this new year because y'all have definitely been riding with me. If you would like to join my Patreon, it's very simple. All you have to do is go to www.patreon.com/bstokestyling and make your pledge. $5, $10, or $25. Currently, I'm trying to get to 20 Patreons, you guys, so make sure you help me reach my goal by clicking the link down in my description box and joining my Patreon. You do not want to miss out on the early access to my videos. Don't forget to order your custom Bestoke Styling merch. That's right, we have merch. Just click the link down below in the description box and order your Bestoke Styling merch today. Hey, welcome back to my channel. And today we have a very special guest in the studio virtually. We are going to be interviewing Miss Talise Xavier, aka the home birth queen, honey. She hails from Atlanta, Georgia, and is a wife, mother of 6, author, and full-time homemaker. She has resided in Chicago, Detroit, California, Kansas, and Zimbabwe. Her experiences in these different environments have been the catalyst and shapers of her views on natural birth. Her book entitled Home is Where the Birth Is, The Stories of My 6 Home Births and How You Can Do It Too, is based on her firsthand accounts with home birth, breastfeeding, midwives, doulas, breech babies, twins, and unassisted labor and delivery. Y'all, we got somebody special today, okay? She has been interviewed on Happy Home Birth Podcast, Boss Life Mom, Birthing Outside the Box, Birthing Spotlight, Rhonda Mary videos, Empire Black Doula, Homecoming Podcast, The Infogenic Midwife, Doula Woman, In Love Birthing, and now Bestoke Styling. Talise now uses her birth experience and expertise to help empower other women as a natural pregnancy, breastfeeding, and postpartum care advocate. Her missions are to encourage women to birth their way, renormalize natural home birth, and educate women about their pregnancy and birthing options. On her website, she offers home birth classes, home birth consultations, and her husband has a home birth class for fathers as well. So, men, you are not being left out. Y'all, please drop down in the chat and welcome to our virtual studio, Miss Talise Xavier.
Hey, everybody. How y'all doing?
We have some people saying welcome, welcome.
Thank you.
I'm so excited. Yes, I'm so excited to have you with us, and so we can really talk about home birth and natural deliveries.
Yes. It's on the rise right now with everything that's going on in the world. Hospital wings closing, OBGYN, saying they're not getting the what, and so they're not coming to work. So home birth is certainly something that women need to know about these days.
Okay, so before we get into our interview questions, is there anything that you would like to say to the studio audience about your mission and your life and how we've gotten here today to writing this amazing book?
Well, yes, it is my mission to renormalize home birth, breastfeeding, and proper postpartum care. So not just, you have the baby and then get back to work. No, actually taking the time to really heal the little time that we get here in the States, 6 weeks, but taking all of that time that you can to heal as best as you can. I have a website, TaliseHomebirthQueen.com, where I have home birth classes and consultations. And I also sell my book on there, Home is Where the Birth Is, the stories of my 6 home births and how you can do it too. And I also have my snapback creams, snapback souffle. I don't have any stretch marks, and I've had 6 children. And it also helps repair stretch marks. So it's for women who didn't have it before. You can still use it. And I'm also on Facebook, Talise Homebirth Queen, and Instagram, Talise the Homebirth Queen, and on Twitter, Homebirth Queen, where on all those platforms, I try to daily post information about home birth or breastfeeding or proper postpartum care, just positive imagery and information to encourage and inspire women to know that they can home birth and breastfeed and have proper postpartum care, and also for the youth who haven't had any children yet, because a lot of times I have women who have had, a bad experience and now want to do it. But I'm also trying to reach the youth who haven't had any experiences at all, or the women who haven't, to say, you don't even have to go that route to say, well, I want to do that now. You can do it to start.
That's very interesting because, that's not something that we hear pushed. And not just in our community, but just in general in America. It's like, okay, you're pregnant, you're gonna have the baby at the hospital, you're gonna get an epidural, you're gonna stay there for 3 days, and that's just what that is. So what made you decide during your first pregnancy that you wanted to do the home birth route?
Well, I was fortunate that I was raised that way. So my mother had me as a C-section, and the only reason was because I was breech. And so through her journey and talking to different people, she realized that women have babies naturally breech. And so she was like, man, I didn't even need to get cut. And so from then, raising me, she started teaching me that, you can have babies at home. And we started meeting other women who were having babies at home. So by the time I was ready to have my first child, it wasn't even a question. It was like, I'm going to have all my children at home. Of course. Why would I go to a place for people who are sick or hurt or injured or shot to have a baby when there's nothing wrong? It's just a normal body function. I'm just doing something that's natural, unless it became emergency, which it was.
Okay, so how old were you during your first pregnancy?
I was 25. I was young. I wanted to be that young or younger. I was like, I wanted to start having children early because I'm an only child. So I knew I wanted a lot of children. And so I said, let me get started young.
Well, 25, that's a nice age. That's a nice age.
Yeah, I didn't want to be 50 chasing around little small children. And so, I just, my husband was like, he wanted a lot of children. So he's like, yeah, let's go ahead and get started.
So y'all got the ball rolling. Your husband's name is Arsalan?
Yes, our salon.
Yes. So you spoke a lot about him in the book. It was very important. I could tell for him to be there. How important is it to have the support of your spouse during home birthing or birth in general?
It is extremely important. I feel even if you and the guy aren't married or y'all relationship is kind of estranged, that is so important because a woman is going through so much. So it's like you put the seed in her. So it's on you to help, as much as you can so that she's not stressed about stuff. Because when you're pregnant, your mind is already going through so much. Well, what's the baby going to look like? Is the baby going to be healthy? Am I going to be able to, be a good mother? Even if this is your, not your first child, you still have those thoughts. And so your husband or your man can help ease that, while you're pregnant, not just getting the cravings that you desire, but also rubbing your feet or rubbing your belly, talking to the baby, which is also a bond. Because a lot of times I hear that women say, well, I hear men, say that, I didn't really have a bond with the baby, but that's probably because you wasn't around that much when she was pregnant. Because if the father is around and he's rubbing the belly, talking and just being around, the baby will recognize his voice when it comes out.
Right. And I have heard in some reading that I've been doing that the babies actually recognize the father's voices sooner because they tend to be deeper, and babies hear that deeper register in the womb.
I learned something every day.
That's what they're doing, my little research.
Yeah, but that makes sense. That makes sense. And so I just feel this is extremely important. And especially when you're having a baby, you're in a very vulnerable state. So you don't want to have to be worrying about anybody or anything except just being in your zone and giving birth. And so your husband should be there to be able to say, oh, no, she don't want that, or baby, you good, or rub your back, or whatever is needed so that he's attentive because, he's the reason for the season.
Exactly. Now, when you're talking about your husband being there for support, I know you also believe in having doulas as support as well. Can you talk to us about what a doula is and what they do in the birthing room?
So I like to say a doula is like a girlfriend. So she's basically aware and knowledgeable about birth. So she is paying attention to the different sounds you make to see how you're progressing. She's paying attention to if you're being too stagnant, you're not moving around enough. If you're thirsty or you need something to drink, she's your girlfriend who's supposed to be paying attention to see what you need before you're asking her for it. Not pushing you to say, well, you need this when you're like, no. She's kind of supposed to have known you a little bit so that she can be in tune and say, okay, I'm here to help you and your mate, during this process and before and after.
So did you have a doula during all of your deliveries?
No, I had a doula for my first 4. The last 2 was just me and my husband.
Okay. So I'm sure you had a birth plan that you walked through with your doula. So could you talk to us about what a birth plan is? Now, something that I thought that was very great that you do in your book in the back is you give an appendix where if you've never used a birth plan or seen one, you kind of give a blueprint of what that could look like. So could you talk to us about that?
Yes. A birth plan is basically you writing down what you want to happen. So a lot of times we just go into birth just ignorant, like, okay, the baby's just going to come out or the doctors are going to handle it or the midwives will handle it. But you are the star of the show, you and the baby. So you should want to have an opinion on how things are going to go. Do you want to have a water birth? Do you not want to have a water birth? If you do you want a pool or do you want it in your bathtub? Do you want to have food? What kind of smells do you want? What do you want to see when you're in birth? You want affirmations? You want low light? What kind of music? Go ahead and, have a playlist. What kind of playlist what kind of music do you want to hear? Because for me specifically, I would like to say I had a whole bunch of different kind of music. Because of my first, I had rap at first and I was feeling it. Then at the end, I had some affirmations. And at the end, I didn't want to hear anything.
Silence.
Right, just nothing. And so, having a variety of music. Who do you want there? Because, sometimes your girlfriends be like, oh, girl, I want to be at your birth. But, she's squeamish or she going to get nervous. You don't want her there. So you have to think about who you want there. Like my mom was at my first birth, and that was the last birth. She was because she's kind of a nervous. She worries a lot, and she was just standing there looking all nervous, which is affecting me. And I was
which gives you anxiety as well.
yeah, it made me stressed. And we both agreed that was the last birth for her.
We'll see you at the end, Mama.
Yes. And so how do you want the setup to look? So it's just we put a lot of energy, even when we're young, into planning our weddings. How do we, what is he gonna wear? What am I gonna wear? What's the food gonna be like? Same thing for vacations now. Oh, right. Who's gonna go? What am I gonna do? Well, surely we can put that same energy into giving birth, something that you can never do again with that same child, to make it the most beautiful experience possible.
That's beautiful. I actually love that you say that. And I do have to make it clear, birth plans are not concrete. But it is nice to have that.
Nothing is concrete.
Yeah, it's nice to have that kind of blueprint for you to kind of look back on. That was something that I did with my first son, and my husband had never heard of it. And so we kind of went through and talked about it together, and it was a way to really get him involved and know what to expect the days for me of labor.
Right. And even in hospitals, especially if you're going to be in a hospital, you should still have a birth plan, because you say, if you should certainly take some support. But you say, okay, I don't want pain medication. I don't want my child to get any shots. So that you're clear, your OBGYN or your midwife's clear, your man's clear, everybody's on the same page. So you don't even got to come to me with anything. No. I already said no from that.
Because you don't have time to talk about that at the time. It's like, refer to my birth plan.
Exactly. And like you mentioned, life happens, but why not be prepared if you can? What if it does go how you plan it? Then if you ain't planning anything, then anything can happen.
Right. So something that I found very powerful that you said in your book was about replacing the word contractions with the word wave. So how important is it to be cognizant of language surrounding birth?
It is extremely important. And that has, like, me changing my language changed my whole birth mentality. Because if you say to anyone right now, contraction, they're immediately going to think of something getting tight and closing in. And when you're giving birth, you need to be open and loose. And so when I read about waves, I said, oh, and I've also heard people say, I can't remember the other one now, but I love waves.
Hold on one second. I had a quick little freezation. Hey, my live audience, thank y'all for tuning in. This is why I wanted to go ahead and do it live with y'all, so that if anything happens, we can edit it out for later. Thank you, Patreons, for joining. Thank you, PJ. Thank you, Mama. All right. Okay, we're back. Wait. Thought we were back.
There we go.
Okay, there we go.
But yeah, I've also heard women say rushes, but I prefer waves, because I just think of, when I look at an ocean wave and seeing it go in and out, it's just so strong and it feels beautiful to me. And looks smooth, how it's just coming in and out, and it comes in stronger and it comes out. It's just like, okay, because it will progress. And so I just like the smoothness of it. It makes it mentally puts me in a state of calmness, but also I'm a powerful being. I'm a powerful woman, because no one looks at me and say that's a weak being. But with contraction, you're not thinking of anything except something just getting tight. That's it. So I'm a kind of person who believes that what you say, you bring about into your life. So if you're bringing about something that's smooth and powerful, you can have that same thing for yourself versus just something being tight. You don't want that.
So that could also go into affirmations before and during pregnancy, then, correct?
Yes, yes. I am a firm believer in affirmations for birth my whole life, but especially for birth and visualizing. Um, if you think about something and you believe it can happen, you will bring that into your life. That's just the law of nature. You attract what you think about, what you talk about, what you feel that'll happen. And so if you say affirmations every day, and I want to stress every day, because with my first birth, it wasn't every day. I wasn't consistent. And so I
Mm-hmm.
got lackadaisical kind of birth. It wasn't how I wanted. But with by the time I was on my twins, my uh daily work for my birth was consistent. I said affirmations every day. I did visualization every day on, my birth is smooth. My birth is beautiful. I am relaxed. I go with the flow because if you say it every day and have it everywhere, by the time it comes, your mind has been trained to that's how it's going to be. It's not
Mm-hmm.
even a question. It's like, of course my birth is going to be smooth, beautiful, and
It has no
how,
choice but to be.
exactly. I spoke it into existence.
So is that the same as hypnobirthing, or is hypnobirthing something completely different?
Hypnobirthing is something different. That is when you have put yourself, and it's a practice, but you put yourself into a extreme, I would say extreme state of relaxation, but you're doing it. So we see on TV, the hypnotist,
Hypnotist,
thank
hypnotist.
you, the hypnotist who puts other people to sleep with whatever they're doing, but you can do that to yourself, where your mind is in control of the show, not what you're feeling. Your
Mm-hmm.
mind is telling you, oh, this feels like pressure. And that's another word I like to use instead of saying, oh, I'm in pain. That gives you a whole different feeling than when you're saying, oh, it's just pressure. And
Mm-hmm.
so it's just putting yourself in a state of relaxation.
I've
That's what.
definitely heard people say pressure a lot. I remember before having my first son, that's all you heard people say, well, it's a lot of pressure. I'm like, well, y'all explain to me what this pressure is, because you're not telling me nothing. And then afterward, I find myself like, yeah, it was pressure. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it just puts your mind in the driver's seat. Hypnobirthing does. So and I remember with my first twin, I was like, oh, I'm doing it because the waves were coming stronger, but my mind was saying, oh, it's just pressure. And I didn't feel any pain at all. Like I wasn't in pain. I was just like, oh, I'm doing it. I'm doing it. I'm relaxing and I'm doing low tone and I'm not feeling no pain. So yeah.
Well, speaking of your first twin, because wasn't that the baby that was breached?
They both were breached.
They
Both,
both were breached.
yeah. The first one came out booty first, and the second one came out feet first.
Wow. So I know y'all, please make sure you get the book, because she
Yeah.
kind of goes more into detail. So I don't want to give too much away. But I do want to know, what were your like initial thoughts and feelings when your midwife said that your baby was breech?
Well, I didn't have a midwife. I had a doula, and she was massaging me very thoroughly on my stomach every visit, and she never felt another baby because I've learned that a lot of times one of the twins will be hiding in the back, so you
Mm-hmm.
can't. I didn't get an ultrasound or anything, so I didn't know I was having twins, and I didn't know they were breech, and so I didn't find out until your doula will know when your tone changes. So my tone started getting lower, and then she came and she was like, "Oh, okay, it's time." And then I lifted up, and she said, "Oh, stop! You have to start pushing slowly because that baby is breech. So you can't just do how you just go wham."
Mm-hmm.
And so I had to push her out way slower. So I really didn't have a chance to say, "Oh, this is a breech." I didn't have any thoughts about it. It was just like, and I didn't have any fear about it before because I know women have breech babies all the time. So it wasn't like something clicked in my head like, "Oh snap, it's a breech baby." It was just like, "Oh, okay, well let me lock eyes with my husband," which is I was like, "Okay, look at me." And, oh no. Oh my.
Oh, one more. Hold on, y'all. Let me take a sip of my tea. Y'all, please drop down in the comments. Let me know if you are enjoying the content so far. If it is informational for you, if you're learning anything. I'm gonna check my back end stuff. Awesome, yay! I'm glad you're enjoying. Okay, she logged out. She's gonna come right back in. So, where's my headphones? Ooh, it's so hot in here. I don't even know what to do with my life. So this would be a point in the interview where I'll put a commercial break. Put a little commercial break, and we'll flow. I'm glad I decided to pre-record. Getting better. Oh, I'm so hot. Jesus Christ. Okay. I'm trying to keep up with the questions that I've asked and the ones I have left. If y'all have any questions, you can always drop it in the chat as well, and I will work them into the work them in. But, ooh, excuse me. We're about halfway through our interview questions. I kind of want to go re-warm up my tea. Yay! I think this is going to be a really good interview on Friday. A really good video for Friday. I'm excited. It's going good. Look at me trying to be Barbara Walters out here. Wait. Don't let me be the next Oprah. Don't let me do it. Okay. Good. Okay, we're gonna start back, you guys. Remember, if y'all can respond down in the chat, and I will lift it up. You back?
Yes, I am so sorry, everybody.
It's no problem. I'm gonna just reset some things really quick. How do I get the name up? How do I get that to show? Hold on. Give me 1 second. I was trying to get our names up here on the screen. It's not working. I don't know how to do that. I have to figure that out. Okay. Oh, there it is. Show names. There it
is. I'm so sorry about that.
No, you're fine. You're fine. That's fine. That's why I wanted to do it pre-recorded, just in case we had, because I've done the interview before, and then we were live interviewing. It was all kind of technical difficulties.
Oh,
I was
no.
like, of course. So it's okay. It's just all gonna flow together.
Right.
Okay. So we were talking about you finding out that your first twin was breached, and you said you were not fearful of it, that you knew that women gave birth naturally to breech babies all the time, which honestly is something new for me. It's always been my I guess assumption that when you have a breech baby, that means C-section is inevitable.
And that's what they tell women. If you anytime it's breech, you have to have a C-section. If you have a C-section, you have to have more C-sections. You can never have a vaginal birth after that. If you have twins, you can't go full term. My twins were full term. You can't go full term if you have twins, especially if you're having twins. Or you probably gonna have to have a C-section. If you're this age, you have to have a C-section. If you're this weight, you have there. It's a business, so they're always looking for ways to have more C-sections. But for me, it wasn't like I was saying, it wasn't a fear of mine when she said it. It was just like, okay, I need to calm down. And how can I calm down? I told my husband, I was like, you got to look me in the eyes, like, keep me calm, relaxed. He did. And so then I breathed her out slowly, and she came out, booty first.
And so you're sitting in bed, you're nursing her, and then what happens?
So with the first two, my placentas usually come out like within the first 5, 10, 15 minutes. Is fairly a short amount of time after that. And so it had been a while. I nursed my first baby. She wrapped, she sleep wrapped in the bed. And I'm still like, what is going on? And I'm still feeling waves, contractions. But that usually happens afterwards. So I'm still not thinking it's anything. And what's funny is my doula later on told me, she was like, I thought it was another baby in there. And I was like, you glad? She was like, well, I didn't want to scare you. Because I certainly would have been like, what? But so by the end, she was like, well, just push regular. And so I'm pushing, nothing's happening, no placenta, no nothing. So an hour later, my husband's back like, what is all this noise? Like, what is still going on? I thought you already had the baby. And so he came back there and she said, well, just pick her up, like up under my arms and help me squat. As soon as I squatted down, out came some chicken legs and 2 placentas and a whole nother baby. And whenever I talk about it, it just gives me shivers because it was just like, what?
Talk about the shock of your life.
I'm not a twin. My husband's not a twin. We got like a couple twins here, and he has a couple of twins in his family. So it's just like, what in the what?
That is the definition of a 2-for-1.
Yeah. Yes, it is. So yeah, that was, and so like I said, she came out legs first. We didn't know what she was coming out like. We didn't know it was someone else coming out.
Right.
So that's just a case of the baby is going to come out when it's ready. If it's in there, it's going to come out. If nothing's wrong.
And so you said your doula had been massaging you and never felt the second baby. But what are some maybe massage techniques that can be used during labor to alleviate pain?
Now, the only one, because I'm not a doula or midwife, but the only one I know that someone's used on me, and she was like a pregnancy massage specialist, was she would squeeze, well, y'all can't see my hands, she would squeeze like the lower part of my back together. And I've seen on a lot of videos that they've taught the partner to do that while the women go to class. So like just kind of squeezing the bottom, but don't quote me because I do
remember my doula showing my husband how to do that during my my first birth, and it was amazing. like get in there. Get in there.
It was amazing because I guess some births they say it's a back birth, so it's I was having like a lot of lower back pain. I was just like and she came in there, was like squeeze. I was like, I didn't feel anything. I was like, woo,
yeah,
great. But then, and this comes good with being able to speak up for yourself. After when I got closer to the baby coming out, it started to hurt again. So I was just like, just stop, and she stopped. But at that time, when I was in that stage, it felt like I didn't feel anything anymore. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
if you have a partner, have him learn that, because that works.
A good technique. Good technique.
Good technique.
I think it's called counter pressure.
Counter pressure. But yeah, that's a good one.
So you at this point you have 4 children. Now I know through reading, before you had your twins, you had a miscarriage.
Yes. Before I had my son too. So after my daughter, I want to say she was like 1. I don't know why I can't remember. She was 1 or something like that, because my son's 2 years younger than her. And it was during my first trimester, and I just wasn't even familiar with miscarriages at all. Like, I was just like, okay, I know people have them, and they usually have them when they've had many children. And so I was just like, okay, it wasn't a notion for me that I would have had a miscarriage. And so I remember I had a bad yeast infection. This all happened within like 24 hours. So I was just, like I say in my book, I was itching like crazy. I mean, like crazy. I had my husband buy everything on the shelf, and nothing was working. And then as the day progressed into the night, like I was cramping real bad. And I think I called like my first midwife, and she was like, well, just keep me posted on what's going on. And then by the next morning, I started having rushes, and I was like, oh snap, I think having a miscarriage. And my husband was asleep, so it's not his fault, but he was asleep. And so I just went in the bathroom, and I'm sure animals do this. A lot of times animals go by themselves to handle whatever they're going through. But I went in the bathroom, and I realized I was having the baby, and I ended up pushing it out. I never looked. I wish I had looked for curiosity's sake, but some people are like, it's a good thing you didn't look. So it sounded and felt like a ball, but I know it wasn't. But it just dropped into the commode, and then I flushed it, and then I had a big blood clot come out. And that was after I got cleaned up, I drove to my parents' house. I was living not too far from them at that time, and I was just boo-hoo crying. And I remember at that time the Earth, Wind, and Fire song was playing, Imagination. And it really hit me, because imagine my heart with you. And I was like, no.
Right.
No. And so, it took me a while to get over it, because it was just sad. It was like, dang, I was gonna have another baby. But in my book, I talk about, I wanted to speak on it because a lot of times it's a hush hush thing, like you lost a baby, or, just move on, you'll have another one. But it's like, I still had, you know how women do. I had planned a whole life with
right.
child. And so for me, in my case, I was sad, but like I also share with women, sometimes it might not be a bad thing. You might not have had your money right, or this might not have been the dude you wanted to have this baby with. So I don't, get mad at women who are like, I'm glad, it just depends on your situation. But I definitely feel that it's something that you should heal from, even if you need to write it down. I would have named the baby this, and, so you could just heal from it. So that way you don't move forward with the next pregnancy, or just in life general, it being
holding that pain.
Yeah, holding on to that.
Did you feel like you had support from your husband and your family at that time, or the support that you needed?
I did, because we had actually had a fight the night before. But my husband is the kind of dude, like, if something is going on, he put on his cape, and he comes, whatever I need. I'm sorry that happened, So, so that he did good, and my parents did good. My mom was checking on me, my dad with me. So yeah, it's good if you don't have that support system to find. I'm sure they have groups to find, a group of women who have dealt with the same thing, because it's very common. That is it's something that's very common. So, you don't have to be alone, and your sorrow becomes a depression now. You don't have to wait till it gets to that. You can talk to someone or find ways, which I do talk about in my book. I
was gonna say, you gave some great suggestions on ways to heal from miscarriage in your book. So y'all definitely could check that section out as well. This book definitely did resonate with me because shortly before having my son, I had a miscarriage. And so some of the coping techniques that you spoke about, I actually heard through my therapist, because I had to cope. I had to grieve, essentially.
Yeah.
Before, finding out I was pregnant again. And then here we are with the boy. So, even though you didn't go through any like major depressions, or you were able to cope, did you experience any type of postpartum depressions with any of your children?
I did with number one. And I think what made it was just a new experience. So I didn't have any children. And I was kind of high and mighty because I had watched children. Like, I was always babysitting. I was only child. So I was always babysitting and watching everybody else babies. I'm like, sure, it's going to be a piece of cake for me to have a baby. But then when it was me and her and my husband went to work and she started crying, like, I just was bawling with her. We just both looking at each other crying. And
me and you, kid.
Both of us. So I called my husband. I was like, my mom had already said, y'all can come stay over. We didn't live that far from her. And she's like, y'all can come over here. And so I called her. I was like, yeah, we got to go stay at my mama's house. Like, I can't be here by myself. And it just showed me how important having help after a baby comes is. No matter how strong you are as a woman, you cannot imagine how your hormones are going to act, how you're going to feel. And especially because you're not going to be getting adequate sleep. If you ever look up what the symptoms of not having sleep, irritable, you can't think right, you have a lot of anxiety. So I just tell women to get help. Even if you got to save money your whole time, look for old lady at the grocery store, whatever you need to do to have someone just hold that baby so you can get some sleep and take a shower consistently. That is it. And that's why I say proper postpartum care is a need. It's not, I would like that. No, you need that.
So what are some other things that you can do for postpartum care? I know you spoke in the book about 6 baths, supplements. What are some other things that you suggest for postpartum care?
Another great thing is breastfeeding. That really helps balance your hormones, because now it's what would be the word? Now it is activating your love hormone when you're nursing. So it's I guess you could say is taking the emphasis off of being sad or whatever because your hormones are all out of whack. So they're just all really strong. And so instead of having the focus on the sad part of your hormone response, now you're having love. So every time that, you nurse, it's like, oh, this little baby. So it's like, that is a good thing that I was doing. Nursing is an amazing thing. 6 baths also help because it is a good thing to not only just help your body get back how it's supposed to be, but it's also relaxing. It feels good. With me, with a few of my babies, I just will hold the baby in the water with me and let it come up to at least over my hips. And the herbs that you have in your 6 bath are helping your body inside and out to get back to how they were, even though they may never get to exactly how they were before.
Never the same. It's never quite the same.
They help you get back to where you're at a healthy place. But yeah, having help, doing a 6 bath, breastfeeding, and having a meal train, which is what I used, where I had my friends sign up. It's an app, but you have it, and I'm sure they have more now, but it's an app where you can have your friends sign up to say what day they're going to bring a meal, what day they can come do some chores. And I would say do it at your baby shower. So they, at the time of feeling good, ooh, I can't hold the baby. Yeah, one day you gonna come over and hold this baby.
Why are you here?
Exactly. Make sure you bring a dish. And now, we have DoorDash and all those. I'm not supporting that. I'm just saying we have food delivery services, so utilize that. And also, and I did this the best with my last child, have some food in the freezer that you like or that you've made, especially if you have younger children already. And you don't want to have to be worried about, I got to feed them. Just put something in the oven, have your friends bring something or order some food. So that's one less thing you have to be worried about when you just have had a baby.
Right. So I know you were talking about the breastfeeding, and a lot of people kind of feel like maybe they aren't able to produce enough milk to sustain their baby, or they, have questions about it. And you spoke in the book about supplements. Now, I have definitely seen some mixed reviews when it came to lactation supplements, whether it's the cookies or the teas or whatever. What's your philosophy on it?
Well, that's interesting that you said that, because I've never heard somebody answer that. That's just funny that someone would say. Speaking,
I actually am. I'm in a few different mommy groups. It just kind of depends on which mommy group that I'm in.
Yeah.
But one of the mommy groups that I'm in is specifically tailored to breastfeeding, and they don't want you speaking about any type of supplemental things at all in this group, which I found was
That's
weird.
weird. Like, why would I want to eat something that makes breastfeeding easier?
Because they something about they don't want to push
people's products.
Maybe that's what it is, but I don't know. It didn't make sense to me. So I would love to hear your perspective on it, because I'm in that group and I'm just like, okay.
Well, I don't have that perspective. I really encourage women, and luckily I've always had, because one, it's a state of mind. So a lot of times women have encountered other women who say it's gonna be hard. So first of all, get that thought out your mind. Breastfeeding is easy.
It goes back to being cognizant of your language.
Yes, being cognizant of your language. Say, my baby latches easily. I have help to help my baby latch easily. Nursing is easy. Yes, your breasts are going to go through changes because you're producing milk. Your body is trying to get used to how much it needs and those things. So no, it may not necessarily be 100% the best thing in the world. Well, no. It is the best thing in the world. What I'm saying is be conscious of what you're saying and who you're talking to when you're going to say you're breastfeeding your child. You don't want any negativity around that, because it's not supported in this society. So find you, like you said, some breastfeeding groups that are going to say, yes, I support you breastfeeding. And yes, you should do it, and anywhere and everywhere, because your baby's eating like everybody else gets a chance to eat. Mm-hmm. I personally ate lots of oatmeal because I love oatmeal, and that always seemed to work for me. I never had a problem with the supply. But they now, like women who are home birthing now, y'all have it great. They've got all kind of cookies, all kinds of, milk tea, mother's milk, everybody selling,
some kind of supplement,
right? Some kind of supplement to help you. So I'm like, if you're having any difficulty, find you a lactation specialist. Before you even get started, find you a lactation specialist. Start watching videos so it's not like a foreign thing to you, because you don't want to be, you just had a baby and now you're trying to do something that you're comfortable with, you don't really know about. Watch videos beforehand. Find you a lactation specialist. Take the herbs. And also be mindful of things you should not be eating, because people don't always talk about that. They like to talk about what you should eat and drink, but don't eat stuff like cabbage. Don't eat stuff like parsley and sage. Be mindful of, and do some research on what you shouldn't eat, because sometimes we're eating things that is reducing our supply and we don't even realize it. So just, you utilize, we have Google and my book. But you have tools today. There's tons of YouTube videos on how to latch, on how to breastfeed your baby. So you utilize those tools and start off by having an affirmation. Breastfeeding is easy for me. I love watching my baby breastfeed. It makes me so happy.
That's good. It's really good information. Before we move on to just some things about you moving forward, I do have a few more questions from the book. You talked about Kegels.
Yes.
So what are Kegels for those people in the audience who may not know, and maybe how you do them? What's the importance of them?
Well, what I've heard, and now it's becoming controversial, but everything can become controversial these days. But what I've heard is that Kegel exercises are good for tightening your pelvic floor. So it's basically when you squeeze, I don't even know how to explain it. When you squeeze, I guess like they say, if you're using the bathroom, you squeeze to stop the flow. Mm-hmm. So that exercise that you do to do that is basically what Kegels are. And so that helps during labor and contraction so that you're in control as much as you can be of
Mhm.
what's going on. But it also is good after you have a baby to keep it tight, get it back tight, and just when you are pregnant to keep it tight. It helps, the bedroom too. So yeah, Kegels are great. And a lot of women are using young legs now too, which they say helps with all of those things I just listed too. So
Okay. And one more thing that I wanted to ask you about. You said something about pickle juice relieving pain. Never heard of that. What's going on there?
So pretty much with everybody, but especially no, with everybody. I would always have Charlie horses. And so Charlie horses, if you've ever ran track or maybe probably did any sport, it's when your calf muscle, y'all can't see me, I know I'm leaning over, but it's when your calf muscle becomes like really tight and it's like extreme pain. Like you cannot walk around with a Charlie horse. You're like on the floor like, oh my God. And so I had read that bananas were good for that. And I don't like plain bananas, so I made smoothies. But pickle juice works instantly. I don't know why, but if you're having that, you're pregnant or beforehand, save that pickle juice.
I had never heard that.
I didn't even have to drink that much. I would just drink like a little sip and my leg would be, because I could feel when it was coming. So I'd go in the kitchen, like hobble to the kitchen and be like, oh.
I wish I had known that a week ago, because I had a Charlie horse come up on the back of my thigh that took me out. I wish I would have known about pickle juice.
Yeah, pickle juice.
And now I'm pregnant now, so there's pickles in the refrigerator as we speak.
Congratulations!
Thank you.
Oh. Yeah, keep that pickle juice, girl, and eat bananas, because the pickle juice is like the Band-Aid after you've already been hurt. But if you keep up your bananas, which has the potassium, which is why your leg is doing that, then you won't ever have to get to the point where you need the pickle juice.
That makes sense. That makes sense. I'm gonna go have to have me a sip, just precautionary.
Yeah, you might need it. You were already pregnant.
So how important was it for you to hear other people's birth stories while you were pregnant?
It was very important. And unfortunately, when I was having babies, I know it sounds like it was years and years ago, but a lot has changed since my first daughter, when she was in the 10 years. There was not a lot of, especially people of color, having birth videos on YouTube. I remember when I put mine on, I was like the only Black person. Might have been one or two. I don't have the video anymore, but it was like one or two other women on there that was Black, and it was just like, dang. And then all of the birthing books and home birth books were long and dense, and they didn't have Black people in them, and I was just like, man. I mean, I was meeting people who were doing it, so that made me feel confident. And like I said, I kind of grew up with that. So I knew I had women in my circles that, okay, I know I can do it. But for just women who are not used to that, I would definitely say immerse yourself, like every day, all the time. Watch YouTube videos of home births. Type in peaceful, relaxed births. Join home birth groups online. Type in #home birth and start following people talking positive about it, because the reason I say that is because it's not normal in this society. Like we said, as soon as somebody say you're gonna have a baby, that everybody can close their eyes right now and say somebody having birth. We all see in a hospital bed. That's what we automatically see. And so you have to change your mentality and your whole entire thinking about that, so that when you close your eyes and say labor or giving birth, you see a birth pool, or you see a family around, or you see them in a bed. Because that is why we need to see women who are having home births, because we have to change how we think about it. It has to become normal to us. So when we talk to the women that have had it and that are planning to do it too, it makes it seem like you're not the only person out here trying to have a home birth.
Right. And I'm sure you can feel alone a lot of times. I've only had one friend, two, my doula for my first baby, and one of my good friends are the only two people I've known that have had home births. And when my friend told me she was gonna have a home birth, I said, "Really? Oh, okay." But after we were pregnant at the same time, so after seeing her do it and just how she felt and how comfortable she was, I was like, well, that's actually very empowering.
Mm-hmm. And like I said, you might not be able to get to a hospital today with everything that's going on. So get comfortable with it now. Get used to it now. Start just Google, home birth, happy home birth. Don't just type in irregular because all kind of stuff come up. But go to YouTube and type in happy.
Cognizant of that language.
Yes. Peaceful home birth, relaxing home birth, beautiful water birth. Type in those things and start looking those things up because women are having them. Women are having orgasms while they're having a baby. People are not talking about that though, but it's happening. Women are smiling. I have some pictures on my social media with a woman smiling with the head coming out. She's got a big smile on her face. A baby is coming out of her. On the picture, you can see it. And so, we just have to change the narrative, change what we think of when we think of birth, giving birth.
Right. So after you've had all your babies, how do you manage being a stay-at-home mom with 6 kids?
I take it one day at a time, and and before I go to bed at night, I think of all the things I'm grateful for. I do this at night and in the morning. I think of everything that I'm grateful for, and I think of the things at night. I think of what I've accomplished for that day and what would I like to accomplish next day. And then in the morning when I get up, same thing. What am I grateful for? And what are maybe like the top 3 things I know I must do because I homeschool them too. So I know every day I know I got to teach them. So right. That's not changing. I know I got to, do some cleaning. I know I got to cook dinner. But what are some things, the top 3 things I want to get done for myself that I want to make sure I do? So that's how I do it. I just take it day by day and keep it simple. Because when you start to make things, grandioso and your to-do list is this long, then at the end of the day, you're like, dang, I didn't do anything. But if you just make it 3 things every day and then you do that, you'll realize, oh, snap, I did that. And I got some other things done too.
That's good. That's good. Are you planning on having any more children?
I told my husband, I said, you got till 40. I'll be 36 in November. I say, you got until 40 because I'm not doing it after that. And every day, oh, we good. And then we're like, no, let's have another one. And we're like, I don't know.
I couldn't tell by the end of the book. I was like, I don't know. She doesn't seem concrete and being done.
It's not concrete. Now, when the little one knocks on the door at night and comes in the bed, she 3, I'll be like, nah. But then when I see another baby, I'll be like, well, maybe. Because I only have 1 son. So I'm like, maybe another boy. But I don't know. It's up in the air.
We gonna keep an eye out. We'll see what
I'll
happens.
keep y'all posted.
Okay. Might end up with a quarantine, baby.
Oh my goodness.
How have you, this was a question that I got from one of my viewers. How have you maintained your physical health after having multiple pregnancies back to back?
Well, and besides my twins, because my twins, I was pregnant with them and my son wasn't even 1 yet. I made it a point, me and my husband have to say, okay, let's wait at least 2 years. And for my little studies, that's what I have found was a good time. Gives you enough time. You're no longer nursing. I was doing my Kegels. I was able to do exercise. I have energy. I just had the time to get my body right. So I'd like to tell women to wait. Yes, women do it all the time. And yes, I see all the stair steps, baby. But you still also want to try to do what's best for your body if you can. And when you're nursing, I also want to say this disclaimer. Just because your cycle is not there does not mean you won't get pregnant. Just because you're nursing.
Say that for the women in the back.
Yeah. That is not foolproof. But yeah, I eat 1 meal a day also. So I make sure I'm mindful of what I'm eating. I'm a vegetarian. I'm not a vegan, vegetarian. I eat fish every blue moon. So I'm mindful. I'm mindful. I do love vegan food, though. I'm working on it, y'all. For the vegans listening, I'm working on it. But
I'll let you work.
I mean, there's some good vegan options out there now. When I was in high school and my parents went vegan food was not good a long time ago. But now it's like, oh, okay. But yeah, but I'm just mindful of what I eat. I exercise, I do yoga, I drink water, I try to stay active, I play with my children. And when after I have a baby, I take the necessary rest. Your body needs that. You just went through 9 months of a full transformation. So I take the time to really let my body heal.
Okay. So what do you have planned for the future? Anything coming up that you would like to talk about?
Well, yes, stay tuned because I have so many ideas and things in the works. Stay tuned because my mission to renormalize home birth, breastfeeding, and proper postpartum care, I'm going to be doing a ton of things to help women know that it's a normal thing. Women have been doing it for millions of years. And I also want to renormalize men being involved in the birth process, not just sitting out in the hallway and then poof, he appeared. No, let's make this a family affair. Let the children be in here so everyone can say, this is our baby. We've seen how it happened. We really love you. We appreciate you. So yeah, I'm just moving forward with that.
Awesome. So tell us where we can find you and of course find your book.
Yes, so you can find my book, Home is Where the Birth Is, the stories of my 6 home births and how you can do it too, on Amazon and paperback, and now it's in ebook form too.
You can't beat the ebook. I had it right here on my phone, just swiping while I was in the bed.
Oh wow! Yay! But yeah, so now and that's only $5.99. So I want to hear about it's high because it's not high in paperback either. And I also have it on my website, which is TaliseHomebirthQueen.com, where I have my book. I have my snapback souffle, which is my stretch mark cream. It helps prevent it and repair stretch marks. I also have home birth classes, home birth consultations. I have videos. I have a birth worker directory. So if you're looking for a doula or midwife, check out my website too. My husband also offers a class for fathers who are having women who are expecting babies. And I am also on Facebook, Talise Homebirth Queen, Instagram, Talise the Homebirth Queen, and Instagram, the Homebirth Queen. So you can find me on all of those where I try to daily post positive, inspiring, informative information and pictures about breastfeeding and home birth and proper postpartum care.
Well, thank you so much, Talise, for joining us. All of those links will be available in the description box. Y'all, please make sure you support. If you go over to her social medias, just let her know that I sent you.
Yeah, I would love to hear that.
B sent me over here. And I want y'all to flood her with some love and support. I thank you so much for joining the platform today.
Thank you. And I am on my phone. I always have my phone on me. I'm using it for tons of things. So feel free to inbox me or email me, or if you can find my number, call me. I'm always willing to talk about home birth and help women who need help.
Oh, that sounds. Oh, we have a quick question. Hold on. What's your question, Brittany? I see you in the chat. She popped it up. Wait, I have a question.
While Brittany's typing her question, I want everyone to remember home is where the birth is. Don't forget that.
I just love that. That's a great affirmation. And like you said, with COVID going on right now, it's a shortage as it is. Mm-hmm. So we need to be aware of those options, especially as women of color.
Right. You got to have a mask on when you're birthing. Madness. You got one person in the room. Madness.
I could say when I gave birth to my son, there was a lot of us in the room. It was me, my husband, my doula, my mom, my mother-in-law, my bonus mother-in-law, and my father-in-law. So it was a lot of us in there.
That's wonderful. That ain't happening today, honey.
Right.
Not
Right.
today. It's gonna be you and one other person. They can't move around nowhere. They gotta stay right in there with you.
Exactly.
Mhm.
So Brittany's question is, how do you come back from a C-section, especially when you've had some pre-existing issues such as preeclampsia when you're planning on having future children?
Now, I would say this. I personally haven't had a C-section, but I have seen tons of women who talk about their successful VBACs. So I would say before you even get into what you need to do, it all starts here first. Think, I can have a natural home birth. I can have a natural vaginal home birth that's beautiful. Start with that. Then find other women who you've seen have had VBACs and watch their videos, connect with them, and ask, how was that for you? Then find you a doula or midwife if you're interested in one of those who have had experience with that, because a lot of midwives and doulas have had experience, so they know what you might need that might be different or might not. I don't know. Like I said, I don't have experience with that, but I do know those things you could certainly do so that your mind is ready to do that.
Yes. Thank you so much, Brittany, for your question.
Brittany.
And if that is the last question, I am going to sign us off.
Okay.
Again, thank you so much. I'm gonna end us from live. I'm just gonna put you in the backstage. Don't leave us just yet.
Okay, I won't. Bye, everyone. Good night.
All right, y'all. Oh yeah, look at there. Yay. Yay. I'm glad y'all enjoyed it. So Patreons, this will be up. I'll have it edited by Thursday, and it will be live for the channel on Friday at 4 p.m. for Finally Be Friday. Y'all know how that go. Also, our Hairstylist Horror Stories video will be up tomorrow. I didn't look at it today, Peach. I'm gonna look at it. I fell asleep, so I'm gonna watch it now, and then I'll post it in the Patreon. Thank y'all so much for joining us live. And when you see the promotions come up, please make sure that you share it. And again, follow Miss Talise, the home birth queen, over on her social medias. And I'll see y'all in my next video. Signing off from y'all.